Hello. Um, Today I wanted to start this. This is about benchmarking the price of cane, quantity of cane, with the sucrose content percentage in it. Now, why I came up and how I came up with this solution, we have discussed in all this content written here that I have discussed in the previous video. Uh, because when we divide and multiply and find out the total quantity of sugar from the uh, total quantity of cane, that is 40 kg of cane, and that produces 4.188 kg of sugar, and then we reverse calculate it from the 4.188 kgs of sugar, the numbers that we get is almost 9.5 canes, which actually could be 10 kg of cane. So therefore, we came to the conclusion that perhaps it is the sucrose content in it, in the canes, sugar canes, which varies, and due to which the sugar quantity made is also varies. So therefore, it is crucial to understand and take into consideration other factors as well. So starting here, uh, how and how now these are mostly the sample numbers, meaning uh, this number, let's say, is usually the same. It's 182 per 40 kg of cane, indicated prices set by the governments, provincial governments. This sucrose content, let's say I tried to put this, which is around 10 or 12% max, not 15, 17 or 20. But I just wanted to make estimates. If this is the case and the quantities are kept same, then how the further numbers are going to change. So let's just take an overview of this. So I first put down the numbers here, then I put down the prices here. That means I kept the prices same, that is 182, and then the quantity I also kept the same, that 40 kg. For 40 kg of cane, the prices will be 182. So these both factors were kept same. Then what I did, I added the column of sucrose content percentage, and I added the usual standard sucrose content percentage 10, which is usually starts from previous years. If we see the historical records, it's around 8.7% to 9%. That is the average. 10% could be higher, even 9.5 and 9.8% could be higher, and 11% is much higher, and 12.5 is a lot of sucrose content percent, and that could be the maximum. So that we are also going to discuss about the varieties of cane in subsequent content and the videos that I'm going to make. So I tried to experiment with by increasing the percentage of sucrose content to 15, 17.5, and 20, while keeping the cane quantity and the price quantity factor same. Price factor same. Then I went to find out the sucrose quantity. Now, if 40 kg of cane is there and the sucrose content is 10%, then that 10% of sucrose content will produce how will have how much quantity of sucrose. So these are the random calculations, just the numeric calculations, not the actual data. So if we had even a single actual data of benchmarked, if 180, if 40 kg of cane had 10% of sucrose content, which means let's say 3 or 4 kg of sucrose content in it, for sure, for certain variety, then we could have made some reliable and credible estimations. But since we don't have the data and we are just trying to understand the concept here, how different factors and numbers affect, if we keep some factors, you can say, constant, then we change the other content factors and change in some sort of variables. So that changes the results. So let's say here the sucrose quantity, how we found out, uh, simply multiplied sugarcane quantity with the sucrose content percent, and we got the sucrose quantity. So it's 4 kg of sucrose content and 10% of sucrose content. And that 10% of sucrose content is not for the whole 40 kg, but for every kg, for every cane stick. So if we put 40 here and we see 10% of sucrose content in it, and then we can find out the sucrose quantity. Now this is sugar recovery rate. We know how we get it. We get the sugar recovery rate by the sugar made and the cane crush. We take the sugar made amount and we divide it by the cane crush. We get the sugar recovery rate. So if the sugar recovery rate is kept at 85%, then we are going to get the sugar made. Uh, with reference to 10% of sucrose content, which produces 4 kg of sucrose content in terms of kg, and the recovery rate is 85%, then the sugar is going to be 3.4 kgs. So how we got it? We multiplied 85% sugar recovery rate with the sucrose content in the sugarcane sticks. Previously, what we were doing, because we did not have this data here, this sucrose quantity data in the sugarcane, so we were multiplying the sugar recovery rate with the quantity of cane. So we were getting the sugar. We were getting the kind of sugar made. Let's say if it was 10. Now this sugar recovery rate is 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 the is quite too high here in terms of let's say if we say assuming now this 85% we can think of recovery rate in a sense. uh, let's say you have 5.2 million of canes. You crushed 5.2 millions of canes, and you got that means 100% and 100%. So when you crush 5.2 millions of cane and you got the sugar recovery from that, so that is kind of going to be 100%. Now these are the estimate numbers, not the actual. Now this sugar recovery rate is going to be a lot, 85%. So if we just reduce it to a bit. Hi, so I have had wrongly input some data here, which I have just corrected. I got to know and corrected here. So we were discussing that the corrected data here was 85% that I recorded for the total produced cane and the cane crushed, where the numbers were quite exaggerated. So I reduced to the sugar recovery rate numbers. So here when we multiply, we are going to multiply the 9% of sugar recovery rate with the 4 kg of sucrose content. We are going to get the total amount of sugar made, that is going to be 3.6 kgs. And if every number here is kept same, price, cane quantity, sucrose content, and the sucrose quantity in kgs. But if we just change the number from 9 to 10, we are going to get different amount of sugar here. So if we multiply 10% of sugar recovery rate with the 4 kg of sucrose content, we are going to get 4 kg of sugar. The whole point of this exercise, to make this table, was to find out how, by changing the sugar recovery rate percentage, can vary the quantity of sugar made, but in reference to the change in sucrose content in the sugarcane quantities. So this is how it changes, and the base in this, it makes us realize how if we do not consider the sucrose percentage in the total quantity of cane, how it is going to affect the total quantities of the sugar maize and the calculations that we further make or evaluate or forecast. So Now, even point to understand here is you have 10 kg of canes. It produces 10%. It has 10% of sucrose content. Means 4 kg of sucrose quantity for in 10% of sucrose content. When you uh, try to make the sugar, and the sugar recovery rate is 9%. So with all that data intact, the sugar it's going to make is 3.6 kgs. But if the sugar recovery rate is higher, the sugar is going to be 4 kgs. Now, irrespective of the change in sucrose content. Now, this might seem a bit uh, startling. How how is it that the cane quantity is same, but when you change the sugar recovery rate percentage, the sugar quantity changes? Now this explains the total sugar cane produced and the total sugar cane crushed. Here comes the factor of efficiencies of the mills in terms of you can say when they crush the cane. Let's say they have 100 kgs of canes, and they crushed 90 kgs of canes, which made the 9% of sugar recovery rate. So the sugar they are going to make from that 90 kg of canes will be 3.6 kgs. Right here we got the understanding that how at 9% of sugar recovery rate the sugar is going to be at 3.6 kgs. But if they had 100 kgs of canes, and then they crushed 100 kg of cane, that is going to make 10% of sugar recovery rate. So because they have crushed 100 kgs of canes, and the sugar recovery rate as a result came out 10%, the sugar made is going to be 4. I for today, and now I'm just going to read it here, and then tomorrow perhaps I'm going to make some corrections here, and I'm going to read it from here, some questions here as well. So, and when we are going to read all this, we are going to understand better this table here. The notes I've written was brief overview of table discussing columns, numbers, and relations. Sucrose content determines sucrose quantity, and the precise sugar amount can be determined by sucrose quantity and sugar recovery rate that we have discussed. At same sucrose content percentage, if sugar recovery rate is same, the quantity of sugar made changes. That we have also discussed. That was all for today. Thank you.